What movie were you
You
watching?
know,
what the fuck?
Whatever. He reads books.
Must have read. What is, everyone? Welcome to Nerd on the Podcast You Didn't Need What You Deserve, where all levels of nerd are welcome. Today we are talking about the 20 years since Imhotep
It's been 20 years.
was risen from the dead. We're talking about The Mummy with Brendan Fraser. The Renaissance is happening. It's alive and well right now.
I'm very happy about that.
But yeah, we're talking about The Mummy from 1999. Classic with Rachel Weisz and what was his name? Arnold
Bachel.
Thank you. Whoa.
Rachel Weisz.
Bachel Weisz.
Rachel
Yeah.
Weisz.
Yeah, I'm super
Loosely
stoked about
Gosling.
this.
Yeah.
But first, let's introduce our hosts of the evening, today, or morning, wherever you're listening to this. My name is Tom.
I'm Ali.
I am Caitlin.
I'm Corey.
And I am Josh, and this episode is brought to you in part by our patrons over at Patreon. If you are new to Patreon, you can check it out. It is essentially a membership service that you can support your favorite creators. And in return, you get bonus episodes. You get Discord access that you can talk to us and other fans for as little as $1 a month. So it's, oh my God.
Tom's rubbing his nips over there.
Wow.
I
Well,
know.
It's
you can
working.
check
It makes
that
me
out.
feel good when I hear that stuff. You
Yeah?
know what I mean? That's so many good things. Like, if you're not rubbing your nips at home when you hear what he says, then I know what you're doing.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, you can check that out at nerdon.nips. No, just kidding.
Oh my God. No.
Could you imagine?
Don't encourage him.
Nerdon.io
gotta buy that
/
domain now.
Patreon.
Oh my God.
And with that, it brings us to our first segment, which, since this is a topic that we get to rate, we get to
Guess That
Grump.
Is so tough. He's a beautiful man.
Lesson read from the book.
Imhotep.
At the end of the episode, we will rate The Mummy, and on a scale of 1 to 5, being 1 the lowest and 5 being the highest, whoever's rating is the lowest in the group is the Grump of the Week. Everyone at home, play along, send us your numbers, and who you thought would have been the Grump of this episode.
Do you think it's going to be Tom or Corey even? Who
Or
knows?
Caitlin.
Or Ali.
Since I
Probably
explain,
Ali.
as always, other than that one Hellboy time, Corey always explains. I will explain today that this my guess of the Grump is going to be Jesus. It's going to be Kaylin. What? Because Corey loves it, Ollie loves it, and Josh loves it.
That's
She might
fair.
love it too.
You're
yeah.
the only person that I don't know that loves it.
Okay, so it's,
Okay.
it's a default choice.
Yeah,
Ollie?
it's deduction.
My goodness, I have no idea.
Do you?
I'm gonna say Tom,
Tom is in one.
and it's not because his hand is literally between my legs right now, but
Oh my God.
Joshua?
I am going to say Thomas.
Tom has 2. All right. Kaylin?
I'm going to say
I would love to have all the votes.
Tom.
Oh, Tom has 3. And I'm going to go for Kaylin.
I think, yeah,
2
okay.
Caitlin,
3 Tom.
Tom.
3 on Tom.
Y'all don't even know.
For the same reason as Tom is
I
that
have a
I
feeling
know
I'm-
everyone loves it here. I just don't know your opinion on it.
Well,
so,
that, okay.
And with that,
That's
we're
the only
going
reason.
into our complete spoiler of Guess That Grump, which is our initial reactions.
reaction.
Also
AKA
known as first impressions.
If you're across the pond.
I'll start us off. You have The Mummy. You have Blast from the Past. You have George of the Jungle. You got everything Brendan Fraser. Look, I don't remember my first time seeing this movie, but it has been on the top of my list for my entire life. Since 1999, since I was 10 years old and I saw it. Everyone in this is really good. And everyone in this is written really well. And the story terrified me as a kid. And it uses little things such as like the mysticism behind cats and stuff like that
Yeah.
I really like, that ground it a little bit,
Yeah.
in it, quote unquote. And I'll never forget the line where she goes, "Do you swear?" And he goes, "Every damn day." And she goes, "No," because I know what you mean.
I know what you
But yeah, for me, this is definitely one of those like, I got nothing to do tonight, I'm gonna watch The Mummy kind of movies.
Yeah. I will jump on that. I will
Yeah.
tiger pounce on that and say that
Why is that a thing?
Why not?
why not?
How about Kitty Pounce?
I don't remember the specific time of seeing it for the first time, but again, I do. This is a movie that I can watch anytime.
It doesn't get less enjoyable
No.
the more I watch it.
I do. I think I remember being both. I being so entertained, but also terrified at some points. Like there were moments when the guys were getting sucked out that I was like, their juices were getting sucked out that I was like, word usage. Okay.
It can mean two things.
Yeah. when their guts were being sucked out of their bodies.
Which still happens in
Yeah.
X-rated movies.
Wow. I can't win.
Yeah.
I can't win. Caitlin, go. Save me. She's not going to.
No,
I'm
but like
not.
the bugs like crawling in. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember the first time I saw this.
What's wrong with you guys?
But I do remember the 30th
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I loved these movies so much.
There we go.
I used to like set up couch cushions and reenact the movie in the living room.
Which is one does.
So
Yes.
we chose wrong.
You all chose so wrong. I love
Just not all,
these
just me
movies.
and Tom.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone chose wrong. No. I loved these movies. I loved everything about them. And watching it again, I was like, maybe, it'll be nostalgia, like rose
Let me
tinted
take my nostalgia glasses on.
Yeah, let me take them off and try and watch this movie and really like think through it. And I got completely lost in it again and like wasn't able to think very critically at all. And I was just like, oh, it's so good all over again. So I loved it. I liked the movie a
do
lot.
remember the first time I watched it was when my mom and dad were still together.
Well, it's because you're a child.
Yeah, well, they were still together, so it was before the accident.
Oh,
But it was at the Century fucking Theater in San Jose, and I remember watching with my sister. Shout out to Tammy. And
Shout out Tammy.
That's my older biological. Anyways,
Tammy and
that's-
Tommy. I remember.
Yeah. But I remember watching it and being like afraid because I remember like being. I was like a little fucking scaredy
What
cat.
the hell? I just said I was scared. And you went.
No, I went when you said I don't remember watching it.
Oh,
And I was
I
actually
thought you were
gonna
talking about me being
Yeah.
scared, and then you're like, I was afraid, and I was like, wait a sec.
No. I was actually when you said I don't remember watching it, and I was like, I remember the first time I came, and that was the time when I watched this movie.
Oh, I got it.
But-
I understand it.
Like I was afraid of Anaconda. I was afraid of American Werewolf in Paris. Anaconda. And watching this, I was like, I don't know. But then like watching it, I was like, oh, this is an adventure horror film.
Mhm.
And it combines some of the great aspects of like Indiana Jones.
It's got
and,
that
like,
Errol Flynn kind of like
yeah. Errol
adventure.
Flynn.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
exactly who I was trying to think of. I was like, who does Rick O'Connell remind me of? And it's Errol Flynn.
And
But it's
they
got
cast him for that reason because they thought that he could capture that because Leo DiCaprio
Cast originally.
totally on board
Oh, I
to
didn't
play
know
this, but the beach he got caught up
Yo,
with the beach.
that sucks.
But
Who here's seen
yeah,
the
they were like
beach?
Errol Flynn. Brendan can probably capture that Errol Flynn feel.
did.
I'm so sorry, Tom.
fine.
Because he mentioned it.
but no, I loved it, and I remember having it on VHS with the fucking plastic protector for the sleeve thingy, and watching it so many times. And whenever it was on USA, I would watch it. Like every time I would turn the channel on USA, it would just be the fucking flying scene.
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
other scene, just that flying scene. I'm like, why all the time? Because I want to watch it from the
With-
beginning. But you know what's the funny thing? One of
Wince
the
didn't have a lock.
yeah one of the like most deep memories I have of it is actually at the end, the credits start. Because the music is so dramatically different from the rest of the movie. It plays as if it's like a romantic drama. And it's like, wait, what the? Did I just watch the same movie or not? And I'm like, why is this song at the end of this? And it was just like, it was
It's
like,
romantic as fuck.
and yeah, I just loved it. And almost like
we're
romancing the
empty-handed.
stone-ish
Not
a little
exactly.
bit, you know?
Romancing the stone.
Yeah. Yes. A little romancing the stone a little bit. But no, I love this film. And we'll talk about it a little bit later, but there was a lot of mistakes about this film. So we'll talk about it. Don't worry.
I think
Wow.
I
Did you
chose
say
right.
steak?
I also can't remember my first time. I think it was maybe with my my full family, like
Cool uncle?
parents. I think this was an exception to that.
Oh,
I
damn.
think.
Sorry,
I'm not
cool
sure.
This was Cool Family.
Yeah, cool family, not cool. I mean, whatever. But I loved it, and I only grew. My love for it grew as I got older and as I watched it over and over again. And yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
There we go. Perfect.
Those are
That was a good way to put it. So that moves us right along to like a brief
synopsis. And didn't you say you were doing it?
I could. Yeah. I thought you were doing it. He was
Okay,
gonna do
I'll do
production.
it. Okay, cool. So, brief synopsis. This is a story. Spoilers alert. Also, you're 20 years late. So, we start out in Hamunaptra back in the fucking day, like fucking pharaohs in Egypt and shit. It's all a narration by Oded Fehr, who is one of the magi, who is a sworn protector of the mummy.
And he's dope as shit.
It explains how pretty much the high pharaoh Seti was pretty much got his girl Anaxunamun, who's all like, I'm in love with the high priest instead, who is Imhotep, and who is not Billy Zane. They're
No.
making out
Contrary to
hardcore.
popular belief.
Seti finds out, it's like, yo, someone don't touch your little beautiful arms. And then they
Mummification occurs.
They kill the pharaoh, and then
ensues.
they're like, "Oh my god!" They hide away to Hamunaptra, and then they try to get married because Anaxamun dies, and he has to try to bring her back because he could bring back people. And then he gets caught, and then they put him under the Amun-Ra, Hom-Dai, which is the most sacred evil curse. And if he ever
Wait,
gets
the Hom-Dai?
Hom-Dai.
There we
I was
go.
like, Amun-Ra, Amun-Dai is day and night.
There you
Yeah.
go. Hom-Dai, which is the worst curse in the world. If you ever get brought back to life, you bring back the 10 plagues. And here's the titles.
Yeah.
And then we start out like in the fucking 1700s, some shit with
It's like
Brendan Fraser.
1920s.
1920s.
It's the First World War.
Yeah, there's guns.
Same time as Lawrence of Arabia.
Yes, which actually. Anyways, Lawrence of Arabia people at this time, 1920s, and you see Rick O'Connell, who has this garrison of people who are going against all these people in a caravan, Magi, and are they Magi?
Yeah, they're protecting.
I thought the Magi were watching in the back.
Those are like the
leader
leaders.
Magi. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. They're going against the Magi because they're all going to Hamunaptra.
and they want to stop them.
Yeah, and the Rick O'Connell's garrison wants to like take the gold and all that shit. Anyways, bloody fights ensue, and it gets to the point where Rick is the only one left, and the Magi.
Because fuck Benny.
Yeah, because the Magi like hear like the booming sounds of like the curse and all that stuff, and then we see like the first mummy face, and cut to later on, a couple years later, or a couple months later.
well,
3 years.
Just like a week
week later?
or two.
It's just 3 years.
No, it's
Was it
3
3
years
years?
later.
3 years
Oh,
later,
my bad.
and we see Evie, who is at the
Been
Bembridge.
in that prison for 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what a very good time.
Yeah.
And we have Evie, who's in the Bembridge Scholars Library and who is sorting out stuff. Crazy big domino effect. The owner of the library is like, "Why do I put up with you?" She finds her brother. The brother has a key, so he found it off somebody.
Finds a map.
Opens up the key and finds out that it's a map to Hamunaptra, which is the Forbidden City. The map gets kind of burnt, but then they
Very
find
purposefully.
yeah. They have to end up going to get Rick O'Connell out of prison. He kisses her. He doesn't snap his neck when he tries to get her. They end up bringing Gad or Gaul, the guy who has him prisoner.
Yeah.
And then they go on this caravan to Hamunaptra to get all this money under a deal that he'll give him like 25%.
Yeah.
They come across Americans on a boat, and the Magi attack. The Americans and the Rick O'Connell group people find out that Benny's the one leading the Americans, and they have a bet who's going to get there
Benny.
first. They fight the Magi. They end up going there. Rick O'Connell gets the hard eyes for Evie, which everyone should. They end up riding camels, spitting a lot, singing one of my favorite songs ever. They end up having this race to Hamunaptra. They get to Hamunaptra, and then they're like, "Hey, this is your dig site. This is my dig site." And then mystery ensues. They find different things that will unlock and open up Imhotep out of his grave. And then, "You mustn't read from the book," happens. And then she reads from the book. And then the locusts come and all this shit. All the fucking Magi come. They start
plagues.
shooting at each other. And the Magi's like, "If you don't leave, then blah, blah, blah." So we see Odin Fair in his sexiness. But then they bring back Imhotep, and he takes some people. Whoever opened up the box are all now cursing. He's
Takes
going
his
to
iron
take their
tongues.
organs from them. They end up leaving. They end up going back to civilization, and then more of the curses, more of the plagues start happening.
Plagues ensue.
Yeah, rain,
Right.
Pigs ensue.
fireballs on
Chaos
stuff.
ensues.
People
Blood
start
in the
dying.
water.
And then it comes to the point where they're on a chase, and then he takes Imhotep, who's almost fully formed, takes Evie back when he's fully
As a human
regenerated, to sacrifice her so that they can bring back Anaxamun. You have to say it that way.
She was gorgeous.
And
She's from Arrested Development as well.
yeah, Rick has to enlist Winston to fly over to Hamunaptra. They're back there again. Weird sand monster happens things. They go back into the City of the Dead, and then gold stuff, scarabs, evil stuff, and then they fight.
By the way, Benny's working for the Mummy now, so that's cool.
there's
And
that.
they fight Anaxamun when she's brought back, and then Evie's having to fight for her life. Amenephis with the stork, and then
They read from the Golden Book.
they
Book
read
of
from the
Life.
Golden Book and makes him immortal, and he stabs
Makes
him.
immortal.
Makes
yes.
him immortal, and then he falls into the river and says death is only the beginning. And they leave. Benny dies. They have gold on their camels, and they kiss. And then Jonathan has a camel.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
you ride off into the sunset.
Yep.
With all the
Shing.
gold. With
Sparkle,
all,
sparkle.
All that
With all
gold.
Benny's
Not even
Benny's
all
load.
that. All
Benny's
the
treasure.
gold. Just a lot of gold.
a whole ton of gold.
Enough gold to have a mansion.
Good job. That was like 10
Exactly.
seconds.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
But yeah, so that would lead us into a little bit. I mean, of the lore, this is a remake, ish.
Ish.
Like there was a movie of the same name that's just completely different, and this movie is just a lot more.
It's
of
like
the
how
adventure.
they used the title World War Z for the movie, even though it had nothing to do with the book.
100%.
Mm.
Yeah.
Same thing with like Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Sort of.
But yeah, it later on spawned 2 more movies. and then one spinoff that had like 5 more movies.
Scorpion King.
And then
Oh,
a
boy.
recent, not recent, like in the last 3 years, a remake.
reboot
With,
that did not do well.
yeah, that was going to be part of a universe, which I actually really liked the idea of it because I remember when Universal was all about their monsters, like
Yeah.
the Wolfman, Frankenstein, Swamp Thing.
Didn't Benicio
They
del
could take
Toro
my
do
money if they
Wolfman?
did that.
Huh?
Benicio del Toro.
That was
the
going to be
Wolfman.
that.
It was
Wolfman.
going to be.
He was, I liked that movie. Just saying. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
I liked Wolfman with Benicio del Toro.
And Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
Oh, was that a?
It was made.
Didn't even
You should
see
check it out.
Yeah?
It's fun. Yeah.
And
Check
Russell
it
Crowe.
I also just like Benicio del Toro a lot.
and
so.
Russell Crowe was going to be Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
And Johnny Depp was going to be the Invisible Man.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So I was like, it could have
But
been
then
really
Brad
cool.
Pitt was the Invisible Man, and that worked out way better. So, production. Josh, you want to bring us through that a little bit?
Yeah. So it was distributed by Universal.
Woohoo!
The director is Stephen Sommers. You may know him from Catch Me If You Can, 1989, not the remake from, what was that 15
Spielberg.
years ago?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Spielberg remake.
The Jungle
Hanks.
Book.
the
Deep
live
Rising.
action Jungle Book, by the way,
Yeah.
which is
Lena
phenomenal.
Headey.
So good.
Yes. Deep Rising.
Oh.
So good. Van Helsing, which I love.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra, Odd Thomas, many more.
Odd Thomas with Anton Yelchin.
Yes.
Tommy, you have the
Well,
producer
I'd say.
notes, right?
And the
had-
producer, so it's going to be James Jack, who you best know from Raising Arizona, Days and
Oh.
Confused, Hearts and Souls, which I love, and Mallrats.
Mallrats.
Before that, Michael, the Jackal,
Yep.
and then later on after the Mummy, ended up doing like the Mummy Returns, Scorpion King, and then all the other Scorpion King sequels.
Okay.
And then
So writers,
Well, there's
Stephen
one-
Summers. There's one more.
Sean Daniel.
Sean Daniel, who did Sweet 16
Sorry, Sean.
Candles, Spies Like Us, Darkman.
Oh, wow.
Man.
Wow.
Also did Michael. Also did Mallrats.
Have you seen Darkman?
I haven't seen
Yeah.
those first few.
Liam
Days
Neeson's?
also did Days and Confused, Hearts and Souls.
Days
So,
and
like,
Confused is up there on
those
my
two
list, too.
definitely worked together and then made this film.
Wow.
Now the writers.
I keep getting
Now the
older.
writers.
They stay the same age.
All
All right.
right.
Writers.
We got the writers. Stephen Summers, Lloyd Fonville. He did the Gotham TV movie with Tommy Lee Jones and Cherry 2000. You have Kevin Jar,
I have no idea.
Rambo 2, Dead or Alive,
Yare.
Tombstone, The Devil's Own, and Glory.
I love
is a good-
Tombstone. We
I
need to
love
do a
Glory.
Tombstone episode.
I would do
I
Tombstone.
love Glory.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Um,
For
I'll
the cast, okay.
Oh my
we
god,
have
this cast.
Brendan Fraser,
The king himself.
which is Brendan Fraser.
yes.
Journey to the Center of the Earth, Crash, Doom Patrol recently, George of the Jungle, Blast from the Past. I love those
Encino
movies.
Man.
Encino Man. We've got Rachel Weisz, Chain Reaction, definitely maybe, Constant Gardener, Lobster. Recent one, which was very successful, The Favorite. I enjoyed that one. Constantine, Lovely Bones.
Worst Constantine movie
Lovely
or
Bones.
terrible Constantine movie. Amazing noir film.
We've got John Hannah. He was in Spartacus,
Jonathan.
Theseus on
On a Midsummer's Night's Dream on
Midsummer,
TV.
yeah, on TV. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and one that is missing from this list, but I have to mention it, Four Weddings and a Funeral. If you have not seen that movie, it is a classic and it is a brilliant movie. He is particularly brilliant in that movie.
Amenephis.
You've got Arnold Vosloo,
As the titular character.
Mm-hmm.
The mummy.
Zartan
Imhotep.
and G.I. Joe, Black Adam and Superman and Shazam animated. 20 and 24.
Yeah, he's in turn.
Jonathan Hyde, Titanic, Jumanji, Anaconda, Troll Hunters, Richie Rich.
Is that the brother?
That's the dad.
Oh, it's the dad.
The dad from Jumanji.
Yeah. My bad.
He's like, you mustn't read from the book.
Yep.
And then
Tom's favorite line.
Oded Fair. He was Resident Evil as Carlos, Young Justice as Ra's al Ghul or Ra's al Ghul, depending on how you'd like to read it.
Yep.
Once Upon a Time as Jafar, and
And
Justice League U Unlimited,
Unlimited.
as Dr. Fate.
Does that mean John Hannah is the who's the dad? Who's the brother?
John
John
Hannah.
Hannah.
So he's in another movie called, I believe, Sliding Doors with Gwyneth Paltrow, and he's fucking phenomenal.
Also
He's
have to give
amazing
a-
in whatever he does.
I have to give a shout out. Oded Fair is also a voice actor in Destiny too.
Oh.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh.
Yeah,
Who-
I
who
don't
is
write
she?
that down.
Osiris.
Who's he?
Oh.
Who is he?
Oh, sorry.
I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah.
He
sorry.
plays Osiris.
He
That
was
makes
the
sense.
beautiful Magi.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I love
Yes.
him.
He's
He,
really
so
good.
also quick thing, random fact. Do you know he was also one of the options for Iron Man?
I did not know that. I could see it though.
Interesting.
And I was like,
can see it.
he's got the sex appeal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
also want to give a tiny shout out, actually a massive shout out to ILM, Industrial Light and Magic. They are the people responsible for all the CGI.
Yeah.
Sweet.
They had to develop all of that technology because it did not exist
Didn't
prior.
exist.
Which is like their thing. Their
Yeah.
thing is just
Yeah.
like they did all of Star Wars before anything like that
They
had ever
invent
been made.
everything. Yeah.
They like past works is Bumblebee, Ant-Man and Wasp, Aquaman, Jurassic World, Ready Player One, Black Panther, and what's coming out for them soon is or have worked on recently is Us, Endgame, Spider-Man Far From Home, and Aladdin.
They've done every
They're
Marvel movie. They've done the
everywhere.
Terminator movies. They've
Mhm.
done like
They're-
any CGI is either
They're usually
literally
the
either
first
ILM
stop.
or
What a digital.
What a digital.
They
It's the two
Right.
companies.
Were where David Fincher came from.
That makes sense.
Aliens.
But
They did
massive,
Aliens.
massive shout out to them for
Yeah.
being the powerhouse
Yeah.
that they are and
We
creating
never-
so
oh, yeah.
much
Disney owns
specifically
them.
for this movie.
They're Disney now.
That makes sense.
Disney owns
Never
them.
do the CGI studio, so that was awesome. Thank you
Yeah.
for bringing that.
Yeah, yeah.
The runtime was 125 minutes, released May 7th, 1999. The budget, 80 million. It grossed 415 million. The Rotten Tomato score is 58% for critics, and the audience is 75%.
And just because I
And-
was interested in how money would convert since 1999 is quite a while ago.
20.
Yeah,
It's
about
exactly
20
20
years
years,
ago.
some might say.
Just about, maybe exactly 20. The 80 million in 1999 is 120.6 million today, and they made 415, but today it would have been 625.5 million.
Yeah.
So
They did all right.
did all right.
And I mentioned before there's a lot of mistakes. And this is the mistake. That 58% on Rotten Tomatoes critics
Yeah.
Are you shitting my nuts?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? No, see,
I-
that's a mistake. Also, what's
you
a
read?
mistake? The audience score is a mistake.
Yeah, 100%.
Did you read some of the reviews that were negative?
No, I didn't want to. I just
I'm
like,
kind
you
of
know what?
curious
No.
now. 'Cause I'm like,
Because also it's hard because Rotten Tomatoes didn't get really
They
popular.
probably
until,
said poo poo.
they didn't get really popular until
They
like
don't know what they're talking about.
2015.
Yeah.
And I feel like when we go Rotten Tomatoes scores about old films, it's just very not correct. It's like very like
it's hard to,
because then you have like people who do YouTube channels who are like, oh, this is the retrospective look. We were really hard on it when it first came out, and then we realized it was a good gem. It's like, all right, shut up.
Oh, Dazed and
Anyways.
Confused is one of those movies that tanked and is now considered a classic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Big Lebowski is as well. It's now a
all-
cult classic.
most of my favorite movies all failed in the box office.
Yeah.
And then did well, really well afterwards.
Well, does that bring us to our favorite parts?
Yeah.
I think it does.
Shall we
Bring us
do
your
it?
favorite- Okay, hold on. I know Corey's got a fucking list, so let me just go off some of mine.
do I have a list
Probably.
or do I have a list? This
you
is
have
all
pages?
just favorite parts.
Oh my
Um,
God.
But I starred a few. I just want to start out with one.
Corey's like, I literally can't wait.
Just
Please
the
don't
one.
talk. I have to say words.
Go ahead.
Just the one
Okay.
of Brendan Fraser throwing a chair at
Yes,
Benny.
that is my favorite part of this movie.
hit.
It
Hey,
is
Benny.
so
Just
hilarious.
picks up the chair in one moment of walking in, Benny running, him not
Picks it
stopping,
up.
and overarms it
Yeah,
at the back of Benny.
overarms it over
Anyway.
Benny.
Hucks it.
Yeah.
So good.
Don't you mustn't read from the book.
Yeah.
It's
Tom quotes that weekly to me.
It is okay. As
Every
Cor-
episode before we record probably includes a "You mustn't read from the book."
Every time.
as Corey has said before, this film is infinitely quotable.
Quotable.
Oh yes.
Looks like
everything.
you're on the wrong side of the
the
river.
And I say this to Corey a lot of the times where it's like, oh, we don't have it. Like, don't worry, I'm the map. The map's in here. I say that all the fucking time because I
just realized that. Yes, that happens constantly.
would I say that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Like, that's the thing I love about Rick O'Connell is the fact that, like, he may be as blunt as any object in the fucking kitchen drawer, but it's like he's actually really effective.
Yeah.
Like, he probably won't miss a shot. He probably will never get shot at or get shot or killed. But then he's also pretty smart. And, like, he knows how to, like, outwit people. Like, I don't know. I like that. I mean,
Hitting the guy with the rope while he's tying it up, just whipping him.
well, also,
That's so
I mean,
good.
The guy who jailed him for 3 years.
fucking,
Yeah.
one of my favorite parts, I think it's going to get missed, is I hate camels. They smell, they spit, and then Gad spits immediately.
Yeah.
They
And
immediately
then
show
they
that.
show him spitting.
Yep.
But then he starts singing his song in Arabic, and then it's like in between each like stanza or phrase in the song, he just spits, and it's like, I love how disgusting he is.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
He's
I
a
love.
pretty nasty dude.
And then recently, I was taught this from a friend who we used to work with at Apple, and I always used to say it all the time. I used to say "Yalla imche," and then I heard him like, "Oh, it means hurry,
Yalla.
let's go."
Yeah.
Yalla imche.
Yeah.
Another thing that they'll say in like Israel and stuff in parts of Egypt is "Yalla Habibi," which let's go, my friend.
I'm like imche.
I
No.
love
Let's go.
when Evie's like,
Yalla.
"I know what you're shaking. What's a place like me
Doing
doing
it
it in a girl like this?"
I loved her
Makes me
drunk.
laugh
Her drunk was
so
so fun to
much.
watch.
I
It just
a
reminds me
librarian.
of Dumb and Dumber when he's like, "What are the odds of a girl like me and a guy like you?"
Now go show us.
Yelling at the mummy after it yells at him.
But he
Yelling
shoots
back.
him, which is dope.
Yelling back. "Ah!" And then the mirror of the
With the
look what I've
soldiers?
got. No, well,
Oh.
there's 3. So there's the first one where the mummy yells at him and he like yells back and
Shoots
then shoots him.
Gangster.
And then there's the cat who hisses and then the mummy yells and then
Yeah.
runs. And then the third is him yelling at the soldiers and then yelling back at him. And it's a very Han Solo-esque
Yeah.
type moment.
And he's like,
Well, you see that happen where he goes up there. No. He comes back.
The goodbye. Anytime he says goodbye, Benny. Goodbye, Benny. I really liked that he really tried to save Benny
At the
end.
very end, he's like, come on, Ben, let's go.
the last
Yeah.
one was actually really
And
sad.
And then he says, goodbye.
Goodbye, Benny. Like not really sad because you're like you kind of
have tried to
did
murder
this.
me.
'cause he would
yeah.
probably
Well, he
beat the
also
sh-
helped the mummy.
Yeah.
Almost ruin the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whole
But he was still gonna
apocalypse
like
and
give him the
things.
benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Benny pleads to the mummy, bringing up all
All the
Oh
different
my
religions
God.
and
That was
faiths.
so
Like,
funny.
yeah,
Slaves.
Him trying to look through.
He's like, bow. I was like,
Oh,
oh,
the
my
Buddhist- the
God.
Buddhist one?
Oh my! I was so
Benny's
laughing.
Benny's a piece
Cho-cho,
of-
ahua. I was like, oh my God.
One tiny little thing that like it's so tiny. It's a transition between the kind of the exposition intro to the kind of current day when the statue goes from
That was
new
cool.
time
and
lapse,
it-
you see
white
it.
to
You see
time
it
lapse.
degrade.
I just every time I see that I'm like, that's so cool.
But then you have the, like the roaring mummy sounds
Yeah.
like, oh, this is gonna be
Yeah.
gangster.
After defeating 9 mummy priests around her being tied up, he swings the sword over his shoulder and goes, "Mummies." That is my favorite part of the whole movie. And then like frees her completely. But just his like mummies.
But then it's
Only
playing-
Brendan Fraser can
But
do
it's
this.
playing with like the music, with the like adventure-y
Yeah.
tone. So you're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is great. It's like there's no danger.
Swashbuckle, but like
Yeah.
fun.
I loved Winston Havelock, who's just
That's his last movie too.
who's
Was
just
it?
yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
just looking for an adventure.
yeah.
Well, that's how he wants to go. He's like, I'm coming for you, laddies.
Yeah,
And
he
he dies,
just
like,
wants to.
he has a smile on his face when
Yeah,
he's
he
dead.
does. But like the whole sell on it, do you think we'll survive? Doubt it.
Doubt it.
I'm in. Yeah, I love
Also,
shows
I
us.
love when Winston is like drunk walking around with that
Oh,
Stepping in the
that
fountain.
lady,
Thing.
and he's like, "Somebody spilled
Spilled
their
their drink."
drink."
Oh,
like
yeah.
that was, and then he does it again and looks at the ground, being like, "Oh, they still spilled it." Like,
it. Yep.
I don't know,
I-
he was great.
I love every line Oded Fair says. He's
Yeah.
just so sexy.
Just
He's
speak.
like,
Yeah.
he will never
Uh.
sleep. He will never eat. He will never stop.
it's like, what else will he do? Tell me.
And then like
Tell me about your breakfast
the
slowly.
friendship that him and Rick O'Connell have.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh,
when they're
yeah.
fighting people, and then he
They're the
lights
odd
the
couple.
fucking dynamite on his face.
Do you notice that like Jonathan's freaking out on the wing of the plane and he's having the fucking time of his
He's like,
life?
Yeah.
He's like hanging on the side of the plane, smiling huge. He's
Yeah.
like, "This is great."
I love the library disaster.
Oh,
Yeah.
And it's
the
one and it's
fucking-
one take, which is
yeah.
amazing. But when I see it, I'm like, oh, that
Because
sucks.
I'm
Because
the
I'm an
best at
organization freak.
"Oh no."
I'm like,
Oh,
no.
Like her whole argument is like, "Why do I put up with you? Because I'm the best at this and I'm the best at this." No, because your parents were the biggest contributors.
Send me flies, locusts,
Yeah.
anything. But like, there's
So
something
good.
really great about
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
scenes like that, where like it just shows you exactly who she is.
Yeah.
Like she's very smart, like dainty, and she's like trying to put this fucking thing in there, but then she'll get into trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of her overextension of like what she's trying
I'm
to
a
do.
librarian.
And like, and then her initial, oops.
Yeah.
Jonathan's also great.
Oh
Like,
my God.
Probably one of the funnier parts.
Oh
of
my
this entire
god.
movie.
The fact that like the first time you see him is his arm around
A
an
mummy.
actual mummy,
Mummy.
and
Yeah.
he's like, "Bah, ha, ha, look at this dead guy."
drunk.
It's like,
I love
really?
when he's like when they're trying to escape the boat and he runs into that guy
And he
Like,
puts him in
pushes
the,
him
I
into
have
the
that
fire.
written down here. I say Jonathan
But
bumps
it
a man
doesn't, like,
into a
face
fire
him, really?
couch.
She's like, oh, geez.
Oh,
and he's like, ooh, the key.
all right, the key.
But
That's
then
literally my note. Jonathan
guy-
bumps a man into a fire couch.
that
Yeah.
guy got
Fair.
so messed up. Yeah. The candle in
And then
the
he
eye.
I like that the foreshadowing pickpocket,
Oh, yeah.
because the guy like goes running off the boat and he still is like, but not
Well, he
quick enough.
pickpocketed the first, like, that thing is just pickpocket the fuck
Yeah,
out, right?
but then he does it at the end. He goes, "It's in his robes," and I was like, "Oh fuck, it's in his robes? Are you kidding me?" And then Jonathan,
Who's
goes,
the. Evie, I got it.
yeah,
And I was like, oh, so good.
and he's having the time of his life just trying to figure out. Oh, it is a crane. Yeah, I see it now.
Somebody
Yeah.
already said it, but the wrong side of the river thing.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Just
Wrong,
cracks
looks like
me
you're
up.
on the wrong
We've
side
got
of
all the
the
horses.
river. Yeah.
Favorite characters or yeah?
Well, I had another
Oh,
favorite
yeah,
part.
There's more. There's
Uh,
there's more. There's a lot
Okay.
more.
that's the chair throwing is my absolute laugh out loud favorite part. But I love also the subtlety in some of Brennan's performances.
Yeah.
Like it's the scene on the boat where he's apologizing for the kiss.
Yeah.
And then she's like, it wasn't much of a kiss. And then just the look on his face, and he's like,
Unravels
and he
his-
unravels
his
his
guns.
guns.
Seemed like a good
Are we
idea
going
at the
into
time.
battle?
It's like overcompensating a little bit. Yeah. Okay.
I also like that scene before it where like Jonathan's playing cards with everyone and he like cracks Jonathan's like
Yeah.
shoulder. But
Good
then,
to see you, Jonathan.
Yeah.
but then he also says like, "Oh, we're gonna like." Top bottom dollar says we're going to get to Hamunaptra before you do, and then Jonathan Hyde says like, "What makes you so confident?" And then Brendan Fraser's like, "What makes you?" And it's that sly like, again, it's like he's James Bondy in like the 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So smooth,
I just
creamy
love
and
that. You swear?
delicious.
Every
Mm.
damn day.
But his neck
Um,
doesn't break.
No.
Also like the
Evie.
no offense part every time.
Evie.
Evie was great too.
Evie is great because I love when what's his name Scientologist guy.
There's no Scientologist.
Oh, you know what I'm trying
There's
to say.
no John Travolta
The
or
guy
Tom
with the
Cruise.
glasses, Egyptologist. I was
Jonathan
close.
Hyde. Yeah.
Scientologist.
Scientologist.
What movie were you
I was
You
like,
know-
what the fuck?
Whatever. He reads books.
Mustn't read.
Tom Cruise is in the reboot.
It's like the same thing, right?
Okay, the mustn't read from the book guy.
Yeah, mustn't read from the book
Jumanji.
guy. He's like, she's a woman. What could she possibly
Oh,
know?
yeah.
And I'm
then
about
she-
to really offend myself. I call you a Scientologist instead of an Egyptologist. Not a good look. Anyway, he's like, she's a woman. What could she know? And then she immediately starts
Immediately
going into a
cuts
bunch
to
of
her
history, talking about this is what this statue is, and this is the history behind it. And then also like when they meet at the feet of Anubis. And they're like, okay, we have this really great find. And she like looks down and sees the sand falling. She's like, ooh, secret compartment
And
is
they're like, yep,
here.
you can have it.
She's like, let's children, let's not fight.
Yeah.
We're just gonna go over here. You guys are fine. Have fun.
I love. I can't read this last scripture. It looks like a stork. And then she says a metaphor. He's like, oh yeah, that's right.
I see it.
Not even says.
and I'm like,
"Oh, yeah,
read it.
that's right. It's really like. Again, it shows more of his character, and it's like it shows the levity you can have in an action scene
Yeah.
between 3 different sequences.
Yeah.
and it's really good.
And then go to scenes like where those guys are opening that compartment and it's that acid. Like
Oh,
the
I do
salt
like
acid.
I
Salt
like
acid.
the kind of
Ancient salt acid.
gory-ish, like terrifying parts of it. Like
Seeing the bug crawl through his neck,
Oh.
through his cheek, and
oh,
then
Yeah,
chew it.
when he's
Well,
eating it.
that's cool because it gets paired up with like when Gad gets eaten by one.
Yeah.
and he like you see him like lose his mind, and it's like he eats that shit for breakfast, baby.
Yeah.
and they eat him too. So.
Yeah, but I loved actually when they show Juicy Imhotep
Yeah.
because they do a really good
Yeah.
zoom in,
Mhm.
and then it's like you see the reverse of EV2 zoom in, and it's like it plays on that horror. And
Juicy?
it's- where like he pops out, they're like, oh,
Oh, he's
Juicy?
juicy.
And they're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
he must be over blah blah blah. He's still juicy.
Juicy.
But it's like that whole sequence too. It's like okay, because it immediately cut like the horror aspect with the comedy in a good way. It doesn't underplay the scare because it is a fucking dead body, and it is like, oh Jesus, yeah, it is scary. But like they do that really
Yeah.
really well, where it's like it doesn't undercut what you just saw. It just shows like who they are.
Well, like taking his tongue and eyes is terrifying. Like when she turns him
Finds
around for
him.
the first time, he's like, "My eyes!" You're like,
Yeah.
"Oh shit!"
I read this.
That they actually
interesting
took out his eyes in method.
Yeah, he was
Oh.
very method acting, and he was like, "Just take him. I really want to get into
He
it." No,
died on that.
No.
yeah.
Got his juices sucked out.
The original script, like some of the thing is like, why are the scarabs still alive? And the original script included that Imhotep was pretty much constantly regenerating, so the scarabs always had something to eat,
Oh,
and like,
That was his curse.
yeah, that was part of his curse.
Num
And
nums.
it's like those scarabs freaked me out.
Yes.
Oh, they
when I was
scared
little, I was
every-
super scared
Well,
of
the
those.
fact that it went into his shoe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Into a boot.
I still, when I see it, I go,
We're wearing like sneakers.
and then Jonathan gets that when he cuts the one out
Oh.
of Jonathan too.
Yeah.
oh,
Get it out.
when I was like first watching the Mummy Returns is my ultimate favorite. Spoilers for future episodes, but the Mummy, it actually took me a while to not be scared of it. Like I watched it and loved it, and it took me a long time to be like, okay, I can watch this like 50 times now. Like it because it was terrifying. They did a really good job of not having a whole lot of bloody gore. Like a lot of it, because I watched a behind the scenes things about all the CGI and everything. They're like, we didn't want a guy walking around in bandages. We wanted things to be missing that should have been there.
Right.
That makes it seem like a functioning
Yeah.
person. So having him be this decrepit, dusty, some muscles are
That's
there, but
coming
not
back
fully
from-
functional.
Piece
Juicy.
by piece.
Juicy. He was
he's a little
juicy.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Like
that,
when
that made it
when
much
he's
more scary.
talking with just his mouth being deteriorated when he's leading his like boil army.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Because the way it moves and opens so far and quick is terrifying to me.
Yeah.
Favorite characters?
Yeah.
Okay, so main characters, we're gonna say
Rick,
Rick,
Evie.
Evie, and then
Jonathan.
Rick 100%.
I don't say Jonathan's a main,
No, that's fair.
and I'll
Rick,
say
Evie, and Emotep, I'd
Yeah.
say.
are the main, and then everyone else aside.
Rick 100%.
Yeah.
and then the
Rick-
Magi guy is dope as shit.
Yeah.
With a shout out to Havelock.
Yeah.
You say that with such authority, like any other answer
I
is
had to
wrong.
do the fucking cool white guy with the
I
beard.
see.
Sort of a beard.
Yeah, that makes
mustache.
sense. Yeah.
The old white guy with the beard. No, but those are my that's my list. Rick, the Magi guy, I forget his character's name.
Is-
and then,
they don't say his name. His name is
Havelock.
Ardith Bay,
okay. Ardith and Havelock. Those are my
but also Dr. Terrence Bay.
he's Bay for days.
The send me flies.
Yeah.
Look. Oh, right. Okay.
Who's next?
Sacrifices
me-
himself.
I know.
Main is Emotep.
Mm-hmm.
I liked him a lot.
But he doesn't have long silver hair.
That's fine.
And he
I
does this
That's
weird,
fine.
That's fine.
I'll still look at him.
You do whatever
he does
you
this
want.
weird little body gyrate.
No, I thought his story was really interesting, and like he loves
Kinda
very
sad.
deeply. It's sad. Like he can't love who he wants to love. Like yeah, he has warped views on things, and he's kind of super duper messed up.
How's it warped?
Bringing your girlfriend back from the dead and killing your boss.
Okay, so real quick, this woman that loves me
Uh-huh.
and doesn't love the guy that she's supposed to be married because of fucking
Culture.
dumb culture.
That's
I'm the only one that
forced-
could bring someone back from the
To
dead.
marry.
So when she kills herself, I'm like, yeah, just bring her back from the dead. I come back from the dead. Well, just bring her back from
is
the
that
dead.
not his daughter?
No.
What?
No.
That's just the pharaoh's wife, or pharaoh, one of his pharaoh's.
I'm
like, many-
confused with the second movie.
Possibly because
Yeah,
it's the
yeah, yeah,
Pharaoh's
yeah.
wife and he's the Pharaoh's priest.
Wait 2 years. We'll get to that one.
Yeah.
No, because in the
Two?
second one, Rachel Weisz competes, and they're competing for who's going to be.
She's the daughter there.
She's a daughter of another king, and they was going to combine two kingdoms.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
But and then she loses the fight. Anyways, but yeah. How's that warped? That's
I don't
that's
know.
just a curse that like I have to bring upon the end of the
Just-
world. Sadly.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. Just
He's
raise
doing
it
anything.
weird.
romantic.
He's doing anything for love.
Okay.
Who's your favorite side character?
I would
Um,
do anything for love.
But I won't raise the dead. Side character is probably Benny.
Benny.
It's a love-hate though.
Benny.
Yeah.
Weren't you just
Yeah.
saying something about
Benny.
warped?
Hate.
Weren't you just saying something about warped?
I think
You'll get what's coming to you. You'll get
He's-
yours, Benny.
he's my favorite in that
You'll get yours.
he's
Squirrely, scrounge.
squirrely and awful. He's my favorite in
Nice
that
coward.
camel, O'Connell.
When he jumps out the window.
That's really good.
he's such like a caricature of a person, but also could very much be a real
What
person.
about my children?
Yeah,
You don't have any children.
I might.
I might.
Yeah, like
I might.
he's just the unredeemable asshole that you want to help and hope that he'll be better, but he never will.
No.
So I like him
Looks
for
like
the
we
fact
got all
that
the horses.
yeah,
I want to see him burn.
I like him for the fact that I hate him so much.
Yeah.
I want to see him get bumped by Jonathan into a fire.
He's committed to his cowardly.
He's committed to his ways
yeah.
of being
Yeah.
awful.
Josh, favorite character inside?
Definitely Rick will be my favorite, but the thing is Evie and Rick are like right
it's hard
here.
to pick.
Renaissance.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Anyway, side does have to be Jonathan. I just love the brother.
Yeah.
He's
and I love
good.
John Hannah so much.
When he fakes being like, he reaches into that guy's back who got eaten by the scarabs.
Oh,
He's like,
yeah.
Ah!
And
And
it's
you're
a
like,
gla-
oh, what is he?
it's
He's
the
like,
fucking
broken
wine.
bottle. He's got good taste.
Yeah. That is one thing that they're drinking out of a broken bottle. I'm like, how are they not cutting their lips?
There's
Carefully.
Careful.
Okay.
They're not,
I think
they're not sucking on it and putting it in their
Like,
Yeah.
it's only on
flossing.
one little
looked
side.
like half
so
of
they
it was
drank the other
intact,
side.
yeah.
But I would want to try that.
What's
He
Drinking
said it
out
was
of a
like
broken
Glenn
bottle.
Levitt, like 15
12
That
years
wouldn't
or
stop
something
you.
like that. It wouldn't stop me.
Yeah.
I'd still try it, but I was like,
Also, you're in the desert. You're going to get everything you can get.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ali?
My favorite is Rick O'Connell. Very hard decision. I want to say Rachel Weisz's character, but
Yeah.
um,
He's just too Brendan Fraser.
he's too Brendan Fraser.
That's hard. That's
yeah.
I
charisma
think
that's
it-
hard to compete
I think it's
with.
my favorite performance of his, to be honest. Like, is just him as Rick O'Connell in the first
Shout
two.
out to him in Scrubs as well, though.
Oh, yeah.
I've only seen the first two, so that's all I have
I
to
think-
go off of. But that's it. And then what were you gonna say?
Side.
I
pick.
just want to make a side note that like to me, Rick and Evie are god tier. Like they're I feel like I can't even choose them as my like
Best couple.
favorite main because they're just
That's fair.
They're already up there.
They
too
cannot be
high.
touched.
They
Their
can't be
chemistry
touched,
is like-
they're up there.
They
Their
have the
chemistry is so good.
Perfect.
If people weren't there, they fucking.
Ollie,
Oh yeah,
side?
100%. Side character for me would have to be Benny, just because I just love his antics and he's just fun to watch.
All warped ass people.
It's not like
I'm
we
kidding.
vouched
It's not.
for
It's
him.
not favorite as in like who's my favorite person that is the character.
just what
It's
character
just like
you enjoy
what
to
did I
watch.
enjoy watching the most was Benny.
Thanks you for your eyes and tongue.
You're really
my
good
favorite-
at that,
my
and
favorite's
I'm kind of
Rick.
upset about it.
my favorite's Rick, especially when you find out that he's afraid of cats. And he's like, "Ooh, look what I got here."
Yeah. Look
Uh,
what I got.
Yeah, his charisma's phenomenal.
Through the roof.
Yeah, and I'm just talking about specifically this film, and I'll talk about the franchise later on, maybe other episodes. But this film, Rick O'Connell's film. Side character, it might be Oded Fair or it might be Dr. Terrence, because I really liked both Magi.
Yeah.
I really like how they're
Oh,
both
yeah.
like the fucking gatekeepers and defenders of like the fucking mortal world, and like they are doing everything in their possible way
Is
to
that
like
her boss?
yeah.
Yeah.
Send me flies.
How when he burns it on purpose so
Yeah.
that no one goes there?
Yeah.
Very on purpose. Like, oh, let me read by this candle. Oops, look at that. Anyway, leave it
Baby.
alone.
It's like it's for the better.
Yeah, for the better, I suppose.
And then he's like, right! Oh my god, he sacrificed himself in such a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna say Dr. Terrence, just because he dies and then
Yeah.
Oded Fair's in the next one.
Okay, fair enough. Odin, fair enough.
Yep.
Oh.
Get out.
Well done. Well
Thank you,
done.
thank you, thank you,
Well
thank you.
done.
So now qualms.
Call me qualms.
I can start.
Yes.
I don't have any.
Oh,
So next.
I don't have any.
Okay.
I wouldn't change a single thing.
Yeah.
The only thing that I went, was the glass bottle thing, but it's like, I don't care. Because you watch them and you're like, okay, maybe they're doing it carefully. It doesn't take me out of the movie at all.
Ollie, Ollie.
Smokes are free.
I tried really hard to
Pharisee?
find any qualm with this, and the closest thing I can come to is some of the CGI looked a little weird
reach around.
what?
But are you giving it like a pass because they came
because
up with
it's
it
for the time. It's
and they
it's fine.
invented it
Yeah, but
for this movie?
I think they could have probably gotten away with, or they could have used a bit more practical effects in some instances. But that's the closest thing I can come to, and I don't even really consider that a qualm.
Ollie, Ollie, Benny free.
I'm not Ollie.
I know. I just wanted to throw it in there.
Actually, side note on
Yeah.
using more practical effects, the like behind the scenes with the CGI, they specifically said, I want you to create things that you could not create with practical effects. So that was also very purposeful because they were like, we want this to be
We
CGI.
wanna push the limits.
Okay.
We want to push the limits. We don't want practical
It's
effects.
1999,
Be-
guys.
because they were
Yeah.
trying really hard
the
not
world
to
may end in
do
6 months.
a person in a mummy suit.
Right.
They were trying
They're
really
trying to stay
hard
away from
They
that.
try to make it look more terrifying.
punch
or
holes
whatever.
in people.
I
and
also,
stuff.
I think,
Makes
bear
sense.
in mind that a year later, Kevin Bacon's Hollow Man came out.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of like this was a time of that kind of CGI.
It was that CGI like
I think 1999 was
I think
a big
everyone
change.
started being
The
very-
Matrix. like-
Yeah, everyone
Yeah.
started being very experimental with it because they were realizing like, wow, we could do a lot, and
potential.
if we do it really well, it can be very good.
I give it because some of it doesn't look great now. It didn't age well.
Right.
But I give it a little more slack. A, because they invented most of it, and B, it paved the way for things like Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, which started pushing the limits even further.
Well,
than
like
that.
watching this on Netflix, like I was watching it, and like that first scene when you see Imhotep like looking over like the slaves building the pyramids and stuff like that, like you tell it's a green screen, and they like rendered like a stitching of like the environment. Like the film aspect of it still looks really good, and that's
Yeah.
the thing about film that digital will never beat. But it's like, yeah, you'll have some of the like give and takes with CGI and film, but it's like the film still holds up. There's some movies that are shot on film that look like fucking like shot out of a toillet paper roll. And you're like, what is wrong with you? But this one, like all the colors look really great. Anyways, qualm for me. It's an adventure movie.
yeah.
So I mean, it doesn't have to have like the bravado and drama of every other fucking movie in the world. But it's kind of like, does anyone really have a big lesson? There's a lot of growth, but like Rick O'Connell's kind of just the action hero.
Yeah.
Evie's the one that really has to kind of grow into like the adventure seeker, and then Jonathan has to kind of like try not to be so
An idiot.
skeevy.
He needs to grow up.
Yeah,
That's essentially what it is.
yeah, but there's not a lot of those themes in there. But this film, I don't think is supposed to have that. And so if
Yeah.
there is a reach around that I'm looking for, it's that. And I find my reach around.
Yeah.
Oh,
Caitlin,
I don't have qualms.
Cool. So, rating.
who goes first?
Let's see. I have the note.
Because I have
here.
like fucking 12 votes.
Yeah,
on me.
Tom had 3. Caitlin has 2. So it's Josh, Ollie, and Corey. Ollie?
I had how many votes?
None.
None.
Oh,
You first.
For me, it's a 5, and in the sense of not like feeling that it's a 5, it's me literally looking and seeing that like I loved every bit of it. There's nothing that I could find that I would change about this movie, no matter how hard I look.
Yeah.
And it's great for its time, and it holds up to today, and it's still really entertaining. So 5.
Judge Roy?
It's a 5. Wouldn't change a single thing about it.
Oh, nice. Mine is a 4.9.
What?
Yeah, it's a 4.9. That's it. There isn't anything I would change. I'm just thinking of other movies that I would rate 5, and it comes really, really, really close. That's it. Otherwise, this is probably one of my favoriteest movies of all times.
That makes sense.
This is where like my feelings for it definitely takes over a little bit.
Yeah.
On the score.
Caitlin, I
Caitlin?
know you have to go before me, so don't look at me.
I know. Mine is a 5.
So I chose wrong.
Yeah, you chose so wrong.
Oh, I did too.
for sure. But I loved the movie then. I loved it now. And the more research I did about the movie and like the CGI and the production and development, it makes me love it even more because there was so much innovation going into this movie and doing nods to the mummy that came before it.
And Lawrence of Arabia.
And Lawrence of Arabia.
The mummies
and
before it.
Yeah.
The mummies before it.
It stands on the shoulders of mummies and giants.
Right. And it made it its
Shit ton of
own
mummies.
in an amazing way. And everything felt very balanced and beautiful and sound like
Brendan
music
Fraser
was great.
and
Brendan
everyone
Fraser
in it
was
is
there.
effortless. It feels like I
Yeah.
feel like Rachel Weisz, Jonathan,
That's
everyone is effortless in this
That's
film.
something I
Right.
wanted
Well,
to
it's
say. Yeah.
every character is likable,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and there's
Even
a lot of
Imhotep, you're like, I want to see
The dialogue is just so natural. Like I was one part I was going to bring
And
up
Benny.
is when they're just like when they're trying to break the ceiling for whatever reason, and Jonathan and Eve are having conversation.
Yeah.
And they're like dumb Americans. No offense. And the only thing he's saying is none taken.
Yep.
None taken.
None taken.
It's like such effortless, like clean, smooth dialogue.
Yeah.
So my
Just
rate
works so well.
Yes, Tom.
is 4.9.
Oh wow, so we're the
Hey.
grumps.
Wow.
Me and Tom.
Oh,
So
look at
whoever
that.
picked me was right and wrong
Look,
at the same
the
time.
two people that chose me were the grumps instead.
That's what happens.
Wow.
Hey,
but
I
I do
don't-
want to point
I
out
literally
that the
don't
Grumps
regret
are
anything.
4.9.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
I mean, and that's the thing. It's
I
kind of
regret
like
nothing.
it's a small thing, and I think like I just kind of there's other films that like have adventure and all that stuff, and there's some kind of like
Growth.
character like
Yeah,
oh, okay they're
I'll give you
different from it, but like and then knowing the sequel that nothing's changed,
Yeah.
it's kind of like whatever. But like I'm not expecting it to be again it's an adventure film.
Yeah.
And the thing is like that it does better than most films that do have development in it. Every character is enjoyable to watch, and I kind of go back to Josh's like comment about Homeland, how like even the main character is hard to watch sometimes now. Where it's like the worst character is fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the reason I
Like
give
Benny.
4.9 is literally logic gaps. Like you're fighting a guy who can turn into a sandstorm. Shut the window. Like
Yeah.
just little things like that.
But he can come through a keyhole.
It doesn't matter. Still
They
the
wouldn't know
logic of the
that.
character at least
Yeah.
shutting the windows. Like the Americans. It's literally the Americans.
Yeah.
Who are the fucking dumbest people in the
No
entire
offense.
movie. No, none taken.
Well, also like the Magi like no more bloodshed. I'm like more bloodshed.
Yeah.
They're not going to stop. Are you
Yeah, yeah.
shitting me?
One
but
thing.
that's it.
One thing I want to point out that seems to always get forgotten about this movie. It was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Sound.
Yeah.
Well, was it?
Really?
So
And
that's
that's
your boy.
That's my boy. No, I just think it's so funny that just we talk about how amazing it is, and that is always forgotten. That it's
Yeah.
An
Nominated
Academy
sound.
Award nominated film.
yeah.
I
Best
own it
sound.
on VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray, and digital. That's how much I
and
love this film.
Laserdisc. And Laserdisc.
And Laserdisc.
And as of right this very
And-
moment,
and I own it on
Beta?
MIDI.
Oh, nice.
So-
Nice,
Wow.
nice.
Yeah. Just
and
plays
and
out.
for those of you that don't have all of those options to you, it's actually on Netflix right now.
Oh.
Wow.
Hashtag
No,
not
Hashtag
sponsored.
not
Yet.
sponsored.
Yes.
Yet. But look
Um,
how willing we are.
Wow.
So willing.
But yeah, everybody at home, thank you for listening. Tell us your thoughts. Slide and slip into those DMs.
Sandstorm
Wow.
your way in.
That's a lot of slipping in.
Yeah.
And
Slip
sliding.
and slip and slide.
It's
lot
kind
of
of like as
sliding.
if it's more than just sliding and then.
It's a lot of
Oh.
slipping.
You mustn't read from the DMs.
Except we will anyway.
Sorry, I'm
Uh,
actually just on the IMDb right now, and I'm reading. Brendan Fraser nearly died during the scene where he was hanged.
What?
He stopped
Yeah.
breathing and had
yeah.
to be resuscitated.
They did the trick rope didn't work.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was like, what?
We
Sorry.
almost lost
His
our
neck
Brendan.
Brendan,
did not break.
just a little
Telling me
moment,
This godless son of a pig.
a little
like that.
moment
Very good.
to
time.
just say, Brendan Fraser,
Thank you.
We love you.
We love you so
Brendan.
much.
You're
Brendan
the
Fraser.
best.
Check
Come
out
back
Doom
to us.
Patrol.
Check out Doom Patrol.
He's a robot, and he's
Support-
like, I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Get out. This is for Brendan.
He's not. He's not wearing hockey pads. He's wearing a
He's not.
leather jacket.
Factual.
But also, we're so excited for the Renaissance. Thank
I'm
you
here
for being
it,
you.
man.
I'm so
I'm
ready
We're
for it.
excited for everything.
But yeah, thank you so much for listening, for watching. If you are on the YouTubes, if you are new to Nerd On, welcome. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
If you'd like to learn more about us, you can check out nerdon.tv. It has all the links, all of our past episodes,
The goods.
all the goods. But yeah, share us with your friends, your family. Please review us on the iTunes. Give us a rating on that because that does help.
If you know Brendan Fraser, give him our info.
Please.
Yes,
We'd love to have him on the
please.
show.
Yes.
Please, we want to talk to you, maybe, if you want to.
Baby?
What?
you say
Maybe,
baby?
maybe,
Baby
if
Oh,
you,
baby.
maybe if you want
He
to.
said we want to talk to you, baby, if you want to.
I would probably also
oh
say
my.
that. So.
Yeah, some things to bear in mind. We do have a new show that will be coming.
Coming at you.
Coming at you.
It's still coming.
It's still. Okay. I saw where you went there, and I'm going somewhere else.
I choose to ignore it.
I
It might
choose to
have
ignore.
already came, or at least pre.
Goodness.
I heard your response and I reject it.
Questions at nerdon.tv. Send your questions there because this show features questions from our audience and our listeners.
We answer them for you.
For
Coming
you.
soon.
But yes, you can send those questions to that email or to any of our DMs, like I mentioned earlier.
You can ask us personal questions. You can ask speculations, what our favorite characters are.
Which finger on your hand is your favorite one? I'll never tell until you ask.
What's our favorite production still of Rachel Weisz and Mummy?
This guy. Tom is, for our audio
Mine's
listeners.
the one where you can see Brendan Fraser.
Tom is just on his iPad here looking through pictures of Rachel Weisz on IMDb.
That's the one.
That's the one.
Wow. Okay. On
Anyway,
that, as always,
I'll be back.
Nerd on!
Ending broadcast.